Hey guys, it is J.Belle with the Gossip Minute and Power 98.3 and 96.1 right here in Central Phoenix. If you had a chance to listen to Trey Songz album, great. If you haven't, you are losing. All right. Who I got on the Zoom call with me right now is the producer behind the #1 album in the country, Troy Taylor. How are you doing?
I'm awesome. How are you?
I'm doing good. You're so laid back and just like really.
I mean,
It's just
I,
like I'm chilling. You know
yeah,
what
I'm
I'm saying?
chilling. I'm in chill mode
There's
for
nothing
sure.
wrong with that at all. Well, I'm glad that you're here. I've been waiting
Thank
for
you
this.
for having me.
No problem at all. It's rare when we get to talk to the producers behind these amazing albums. If you guys
Hmm.
do not know, he also produced Trey Songz' debut album, I Gotta Go. And when I listened, like I was telling you before we started the interview, when I listened to the album, it reminded me of that first album. I got all the feels. And I will say this, you guys are known for his intros because you had Panty Dropper and now Be
Hmm.
My Guest.
Hmm.
And just off of those alone, you're like, okay, what we got
Right.
coming next? Because, you be wanting more, you want more. And so, the first thing I do want to ask you is about the album before we get into anything else. You and Trey have worked together for a very long time.
Hmm.
What was different going into this album versus his past work?
Um, this album basically came off of an album which he did Tremaine before this one,
Mm-hmm.
and that was the album that he kind of like wanted to explore and do it on his own. I had only did one song on that album. So what made this album a little more special is him coming back home, pun intended. No pun intended, but that was part of the whole back home, part of going back to Virginia, part of coming back to me and us doing what we normally do and how we normally do it. Um, the one thing about Trey and us making the albums is that a lot of the songs are not done seriously. They're all done like acting silly or saying something crazy and just running with it. And that's the thing that if anyone's doing a Trey Songz album, that's the thing that's key. We just vibe, we have fun. And if
Mm.
it's done too seriously, then it's gonna be stuffy. But if it's done like, Be My Guest, he said it one time and I'm like, oh nah, that's gonna be the way we open it up, like, ooh, I'm about to die, man. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so but that's how it comes about. And so this album brought it back to the way we really like do music.
And I can definitely hear that in there. Like you said, as soon as you listen to Be My Guest, you're just like you're diving in to
Right.
it. You can hear the love, you can hear the work he put into it, and even the fun of it. The fun of it.
Yeah.
One of the records that I was listening to is the How Many Times.
Hmm.
Obviously, that's talking about what's going on with our world today, with the racial injustice
Hmm.
and, many other things that are happening. Why did you guys decide to put that song on the album? Because obviously a lot of the songs are very fun, loving,
Hmm.
sexual. And then you hear this and it kind of just stands out.
Remember, there was an interlude that comes before it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was the interlude that had his, some of his family members, his grandmother, his grandfather, his father, and it talking. And so we like to make transitions into songs. So we thought that would be the perfect transition to go from that to, like the siren in the streets and just go right into that song. And we had to find a place to put it on the album anyway, because we put it out before the album came out, so it only made more sense to put it on the album.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the spot we decided to put it on.
Okay. And let's talk about something else for a second, because even though, ladies, he might not look it, Troy Taylor's been in the business for over 30 years. And you're celebrating 31 years right now.
Yeah, this is my 31st year.
31st year in the music
Hmm.
industry, which is a huge celebration Because you see a lot of people now, like a lot of music producers and artists, they come and go.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the thoughts that go through your mind celebrating something like this?
Um, Definitely the transition, how many times I've transitioned through music, like how many times I've watched R&B change. Um, the attitude of the artist is
Mm.
totally different. The mentality of the artist, and watching the, like I said, the sound change is really crazy to see what it used to be and what it is now, and what
Mm.
matters now, and social media, which we didn't have. It just makes a whole big difference. But I've always been able to transition easily because I always kept young talent around me.
I love that. And speaking of young talent, I was looking on your IG and in your IG stories, and I noticed you have a lot of young talent around you right now. You're doing the Troy Taylor University, and you're
Hmm.
working with some new artists. Can you talk about that a little bit? What you guys are doing?
I'm always doing artist development. There's always an artist that I'm developing, or artists that I'm developing. Even though social media, TikTok, and all those things are the
Mm-hmm.
new way of finding talent, what those things do not do is develop. So you
Mm-hmm.
may get a TikTok that goes viral and it explodes, but that only meant you're catching that artist in the middle of their TikTok, having fun dancing around the room or doing whatever. But that's not to say that that artist has been developed and ready for the machine to put behind it. And then you do all of this stuff, and then you find out the artist don't know how to do an interview. The artists don't know how to dress. The artists don't know how to walk into a room. The artists don't know how to keep it going. Whatever it was that they blew up on, you ask them to
Mm-hmm.
do it again, and they can't do it. So artist development is key. It would always be key, no matter what state of the music industry is in. Artist development is always going to be more effective than anything that comes in overnight. So I've always kept artists, young artists around me. And so I have some very talented, and at one point Trey was a young artist around me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so, teaching them how to, maintain, how to start their publishing, how to carry themselves, how to, just all the little things that matter, that actually helps them learn how to keep it when they finally get in.
I seen that, and when I was listening to some of the music you were working with, just in your stories, it sounds really good. And I'm glad that you brought up the fact that a lot of artists do not have development or media training skills just because of what they see on social media. I think that's something that's very, very important. And with that, I wanted to ask, because you're being called the mayor of R&B.
Mm-hmm.
And so obviously with that title comes with a lot of responsibility, which is something that you're holding on to right now with Troy Taylor University. Um, so with all the artist development and media training, how do you keep R&B top tier, keep it the quality that we're used to from the early days?
It's just really just being open to changing and as it changes, but maintaining the grassroots that R&B is supposed to have, and which is feeling. No
Mm-hmm.
matter what state of music the R&B is, or the style, there are certain elements in the music that I like to put in to make you feel warm, so that even if it's a trap R&B, there's still some elements in it that makes it feel warm and classic.
Mm-hmm.
So like I have young producers around, and when they do tracks, they send me the stems, and then I add a little something in it to give it a little bit more warmth, instead of sounding like a beat maker type track. So
Okay.
I just keep it authentic.
Make it sound fuller than just like
Hmm.
the some of the stuff that I would say I've heard as of late. And when you talk about that, it's funny because I was just talking to RL from the group
Hmm.
Next, and we were
Hmm.
discussing this sort of thing. It's like R&B from what we're used to is different than what we're hearing. So like they
Hmm.
have more like of a melody sort of thing going on now versus, when you listen to like Anita Baker or
Hmm.
even like Whitney Houston, when she kind of got more
Hmm.
into R&B, you hear like a fuller sound.
Hmm.
You don't get the bridges and the choruses and the hooks anymore. You get maybe two verses and a
Hmm.
chorus.
Hmm. Maybe two hooks. Maybe two
Maybe,
hooks if you're
maybe two
lucky.
hooks.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think that what you're doing is awesome, listening to that. And I also wanted to bring up the fact that, like I said, you worked with Whitney Houston, you worked with Aretha Franklin, and even Twister at one point. Who are some of the other creatives that have inspired you?
Um, let's see. Inspired me working with Boys to Men, of course. That was where it began. Um, Working with the Isley Brothers.
Oh my God.
I mean, like that was amazing. Working with Mary J. Blige, OJ's. I've worked with some amazing people that I have forget about half the time. Like working with Take Six, working with Genuine and Johnny Gill and
Wow.
um, just so many people that I've been blessed to work with, young and old.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing about my career that's super interesting over the 31 years is that I've been able to work with young up and coming, like Tyrese at the time on his first album with Sweet Lady, but then I can dash over to Patti LaBelle and then dash over to, the OJs. And
Uh-huh.
so I was able to work with a lot of icons and they're all R&B icons.
Right, exact legends, like
Yes.
living legends. Oh my God, you worked with Boys to Men. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, that's the first. I've worked on the first two albums.
The first two, oh wow. So Motown
Hmm.
Philly, which is an automatic
Hmm.
classic. And then
Hmm.
you
And
did
then two. Hmm.
then two.
Hmm.
Two
I worked on it.
was
I did one on two, and I did two on the first one. I'm on Motown Philly.
okay. Two is like one of my favorite albums from them. Like that was like
Hmm.
peak Boys to Men. Can you
Yeah,
tell me which song it was so I can go back
it
and I'll
was.
re-listen?
I did Jezebel. That's the one that where they're on the train. They're on the train, and they do. It's like a little jazzy swing kind of
Oh,
track. So I did that one.
nice. Yes, two was like one of my favorite albums from her. I love it. Okay, so I saw recently too. Not to say that I was stalking you. I was just doing my research, just so,
No, it's
just so you
okay.
know. I saw that you just got a plaque for the song "Tonight" with Twista
Hmm.
and Trey
Hmm.
Songz. Now, this song
Yeah,
came out what, like almost a decade ago?
15 years ago.
Okay, so over a decade ago.
Mhm.
What's the feeling when you get plaques for songs like that, even after all this time?
Well, you know what? Back in the day when I first started, the publishing company, I was supposed to buy your plaques, but they changed that. So you buy your own plaques, and I never ordered that plaque. It's like I have a few more plaques coming on the way that I just never ordered. So it was just like,
Oh,
like dang, let me get some plaque, let me get my plaques. You know what I mean?
right.
So I had just decided to get that plaque finally.
Oh wow. I mean, when I saw it, I
Yeah.
was like, "Wow!" I remember that song. I think I was probably in college, and
Hmm.
it was just like one of those records. You know, you love it. You ride in the car, and oh
Right.
my God. Let me ask you something. I want to ask you this though, because I also saw that you worked with Little Duval,
Hmm.
which I mean, obviously he's a huge comedian. He's fun.
Hmm.
What was it like working with him versus working with like? I know you and Trey have a lot of fun. Y'all have chemistry.
Right.
Little Duval is not your. He didn't do a conventional comedy album. Like he puts
Right.
together actual records. What it was like working with him?
Well, first of all, Neil Duval and I have the same birthday, so we just work when June 12th. We're both Geminis, so it's just like he could tell me his vision, and I can put it into music. So it's really just that simple. When he has an idea, I just put it together, and he comes over,
Mm-hmm.
and we work on it. It's really just that simple.
It's really easy. You just put it together. Because I was listening to
Hmm.
"Don't Worry, Be Happy,"
Hmm.
which is a sample of a classic song,
Right.
and it's just like it's very much needed. And so okay, just hearing
Yep.
that stuff, that kind of stuff like that, it's just like it's funny and it's fun, and I like
Hmm.
that. I love that. I enjoy that. Um, I want to ask you this though, and you can give your honest answer, or if you don't want to answer, it's totally fine. If
Okay.
you could create the perfect R&B supergroup, who would it be? Like, who would be included in this group?
Let's see. How many is in the group?
We'll say about 4 members.
Okay. R&B supergroup, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it would be Michael Jackson. It would be Prince. It would be who else? Stevie. And then it would be I want to say, because Michael's the dance, Prince is dance too, but he's instrument playing. Stevie's gonna be over there with the band, singing with the band because he doesn't dance. And then it would be one more. I think I would want to throw in somebody like I think I should have a girl in there.
Yeah, I was about to say, where the women at?
Well, when you say groups, I automatically think of a male group first and foremost.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So that's why. So I would have to probably put Whitney in there just because she can do anything. So it would be Michael, Prince, Stevie Wonder, and Whitney.
Dang, that is a perfect super group.
And they all have their own different things. It's not because of their singing. It's different. Stevie's not dancing. Whitney doesn't dance.
Right.
So Prince and Michael do, but they dance differently. And they got totally different styles. So each song would be a dope song because, when you do those prolific ballads, Stevie Wonder's going to do it. When you do a sexy ballad, Prince is going to do it.
Right.
When you do a real heartfelt ballad where it's just like maybe a world-changing type, Michael's going to do it. And when you just do a beautiful love song, Whitney's going to do it. So that's the balance. When you do up-tempos, Prince is going to do it, Michael's going to do it, and Whitney's going to do it. Stevie's probably have his funky type, but it would be all different.
Dang, that is living legends. Oof. Yeah, you can't compete with that. Can't compete with that at all. Oh my God. So you're around music all the time, obviously. You're still working, you're doing your thing. How has quarantine life been for you? Like, how do you get through that besides using music?
Well, I've been quarantined for some years now, 20-something years. I don't do anything. This is all I do. So it wasn't no different for me. Okay. I got to go get some groceries and stack up. But other than that, I'm always in the house. My studio's downstairs. I make music here in my room. So I'm good. Once I get the food, once I stock up, I'm good because that's what I've been doing anyway. So it actually didn't make not one bit of difference.
Wow. You just like chilling. Are you like a introvert? Extrovert?
Not introvert. I'm good alone and I'm as well as good around other people.
Okay.
So when it's time to be around people, I switch. When it's time to be alone, I switch. So I'm good. Like, I think introvert prefers to kind of be alone.
Right.
I don't prefer to be alone, but I can be alone.
Gotcha. Okay. I do want to switch subjects just a little bit because you also work with gospel artist Corinne Hawthorne. She's like one of my favorite gospel artists of right now. And you guys did a record together called Speak to Me. What was that like working with her, with somebody that's such a super talent, which I think, she's already blowing up, but she's definitely going to be bigger as the years goes on. What was it like working with her? And what was it like working on that record?
Well, I worked with her on the first album and I did a song called Bless Up. So I did that with Bless Up on the first album with Johnta Austin, my little brother, and Zarius Gidding. And so on this album, they came back. They came back for this album. And so I wanted to do something a little bit more, a little bit more commercial, a little bit more, a little bit more R&B. And she was really open to it. So I did Speak to Me, which is samples the Donnie McClurkin Speak to My Heart. And I did that with Tri Bishop, and again, my little brother Johnta wrote it. So that made it really dope. And then I also did on that album Pray. So I produced that with Tri Bishop, and then we had Breland come and write with Corinne on that.
Now, Breland is the one with the big hit single, My Truck. Because we
Mm-hmm.
played that out here. I mean, we played it out here. But I'm glad you brought up Johnta Austin because you were actually his mentor.
Mm-hmm.
And he did one of like the very first verses. And from my understanding,
Mm-hmm.
you were there in the building while it was happening. How
No,
was
he was
that?
in my studio.
Oh, they were in your studio. So how was that
Yeah.
feeling like you seeing your mentee really killing it? Because I mean, Johnta got some records under him too.
Yeah. No, I was basically organizing the records that he plays. So
Really?
that's why he came over, so we could strategize. I was helping him strategize what records when to play, and that was one of the things that in the early part of verses was dope. Even though everybody's sensitive and they don't want to be like, oh, I'm competing. Oh, it shouldn't be competition. It should be celebrated. No, the early ones was competition, and you had to strategize what records to play to combat, each other. And I think as they went on, they started getting a little sensitive because everybody don't want to, be looked at as a winner or a loser, corny. But before it got soft, I'd say Johnta and Neo, they knew what they were up against. You know what I mean? And they had
Right.
their records strategically planned and mapped out, and you had to make sure you saved that power punch for the last. They don't
Mm-hmm.
do that now. They just play music, and it's like annoying. But I was there on the side to say, okay, he played that. We need to play this. You know what I mean? So that's
Right.
what made it. That's what made it really special.
Well, you should have been there for Nelly because Nelly definitely needed somebody like that in his
Yeah,
corner.
a lot of them need somebody to help them play though. A lot of
Right.
people, like I don't get it. Like you gotta like Teddy, like you should have
Oh,
had somebody there, you know what I mean, to help. And I understand what Teddy was trying to do
yeah.
because Teddy has always been ahead of technology. So he was trying to do the iRig, you know,
Oh, okay. That's what he
where
was trying to do.
where
Okay.
yeah, he was trying to do like have the iRig so that the music is crystal clear. He can talk into the mic, you can hear everything. And I think he had too many things connected. And whereas Babyface just sitting there chilling.
Right.
Sitting there. It was funny. That was a funny one.
Yes, that was the funniest one.
Hmm.
But I'm
Yeah,
glad you brought
yeah.
that up about verses because it definitely was a competition in the beginning, and now it's like you said, people want to celebrate more than they want to compete. And watching watching Johnta Austin and Neo go back and forth, you don't realize how talented artists like
Hmm.
that are until you're sitting down and you're listening to their records, not just their singing records, but they're producing their
Hmm.
songwriting credits. And so,
Hmm.
with you being in the business for so long, what is the most sounding advice someone has given you?
Giving me,
Yeah.
because I'm always giving advice so much. Let's see. Let me think. It's not about you. It's about the song.
Ooh,
It's
that's
not
a good
about
one.
you. It's about the song. That's one of the things I remember as I was growing up. It's not about you. It's about the song. So it's whether you don't. It's not about whether you like it or not. It's what does the song need. It's not what
Ooh,
you want it to have. It's what it doesn't need.
that's so good. These artists need to hear this. I need to just play that part alone. Just
Yeah, these artists, they swear like it's about them. You don't be an artist for yourself. You be an artist for the people. And when they say
Mhm.
my album, it's like, yes, it's your album, but it's for the people. And the
Right.
funny thing about your album is you're barely gonna play it after it's done, whereas you're gonna want the people to play it forever. So it really ain't for you.
You said it. You said it all.
Right.
That's why back in the day we had these classic and timeless albums you can still play
Mm-hmm.
from beginning
Because
to end.
you gave the people what they wanted.
Hmm. And now you might play 2 or 3 songs on an album
Maybe.
and don't even touch the
Maybe.
rest of it because it's just
Exactly.
like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
understand. I get it. I get it. I do want to ask you one last question because we were talking about Whitney Houston earlier being a part of your supergroup, and you worked with her in the past.
Mm-hmm.
What is the legacy that she kind of has left behind? I know we talked about it's been talked about, but for you that has worked with her personally and you've seen how she is, what do you think she has left behind with you? Like, what has resonated?
She left elegance, and that star, that bright, shiny star type of persona. She
Mm-hmm.
left that, and we don't see it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We don't see the smile as well as the vocals being effortlessly sang.
Mm-hmm.
So she left grace. There's no graceful artist anymore. There's no effortless singing, sounding better than the record, because you couldn't do everything on the record. So you waited until you sang live to sing it how you wanted to sing it. We don't see that anymore. So she just really left a princess space behind.
Ooh,
Like there's nobody to fill in that space right now.
that's true. That is true. You don't think Beyonce comes close to it?
She does, but she don't focus on that part of it. Beyonce's focusing more on the performance, and you know, I mean, by far as I'm concerned, Beyonce is one of the dopest singers in our time.
Mm-hmm.
Singers. And I don't think she even gets the recognition she does for her vocal ability.
Right.
Her vocal ability is ridiculous, even though she dances and does all the theatrics in her videos and everything. Sitting Beyonce down, just sitting her down with a mic, I take that before I take any of the other stuff, because her vocals is ridiculous. Like, she is a master singer. So yes, but because she don't focus just on that and the song, she
Mm-hmm.
focuses on the dance and the performance. We're talking about Whitney standing there
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
and
Gotcha.
not doing a move, and just bright,
Just
just this
full.
big. Yep.
Just full. I get what you're
Mm-hmm.
saying. I get what you're saying. Definitely. Wow. You definitely have worked with some legends, and I definitely see you have some legends coming in the making with your Troy Taylor University. So what's coming next? What else you got going on, man?
Let's see. So, like I said, I'm always developing. I have David Culture, who's a sultry, soulful artist, who's like a baby Maxwell, a young
Ooh.
Maxwell. Um, I have, let's see, I have Edward Beck, who's like an August Alsina, like a young August Alsina. We're still
Oh,
missing that. We're still missing that space. That space is
yeah.
still there.
Mm-hmm.
I have an artist named Inigo Sane. He's like he's like, because he's an artist, he's a producer, he's a writer, he's all of it wrapped up in one. So he's young, he's got a fresh sound, and just have different people that I've been working with. I've been working with Notori from Power,
Wow.
uh,
Okay.
uh, aka what's the girl group
Oh,
which she was in?
3LW?
3LW. I've been working with her. Then I've been working out of the country with an artist named Afghan.
Okay.
He's like an Indonesian artist. And
Wow.
so I got that still coming. Let's see. I be forgetting. This interview's gonna be over, and I'm like, oh, I should have said duh.
We have a long list of artists that you're working with right
Yeah.
now. And obviously, a lot of music is going to be coming out soon. And I really do look forward to seeing more.
Oh, Kevin Ross, which is another one of my proteges.
Okay.
I'll be working with him on his next project as well.
Nice. Because he just released an album earlier this year.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay.
So he's another one that I was in the beginning, and he was my artist, and kind of let him go and do his thing. So now he's brought it back to me to say, let's do it again. Let's get back to how we started.
Well, I look forward to hearing that, because if it's anything
Yeah.
like Trey Songz' latest album, I mean.
Well, it's Kevin. Kevin to me is a prolific type artist, like a Stevie. He could be like a Stevie. He can write songs that make you think, and then he can sing them out of this world. So yeah, he's that kind of talent.
Well, I just discovered a new artist. I've heard of him, but I've never listened to his stuff. So now I'm interested in listening, go back and listen and see what he's about. Troy, thank you so much for taking the
I
time to.
appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
I mean, you are a living legend yourself, mayor of
Thank
R&B,
you.
right here with me. You know, Troy, giving me your socials just in case everybody's gonna be
Um,
following you now.
my IG is at Troy Taylor TTU, as well as the Twitter that I don't be on as much. And you can follow me on those platforms.
Okay. Thank you so much, Trailer. Sorry. Thank you so much, Troy.
Troy,
Make
yeah,
sure
you
you
had trailer and Troy as
right,
well.
add it
I
all
get
together.
it.
I'm so sorry. I'm so wrapped up
It's
in
all
it.
no,
Um,
it's good.
Thank you guys for listening in. Make sure you're following Troy. Make sure you're following all his artists and everything that he has going on. And make sure you're listening to Trey Songz' album, because if you're
Please
not,
do.
you're crazy. I mean, this album is so, so good. In the
Thank
meantime,
you.
we got some more stuff to talk about. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.